Today I want to look at how to play Cut Your Hair by Pavement, the mighty Pavement. And I'm a big fan, but I've not looked at any of their songs on this channel previously, so I thought I'd start with Cut Your Hair. It's actually quite a well-known track by Pavement standards, and I think it's the first Pavement track I ever heard. It was actually a bit of a minor hit here in the UK, and that was my introduction to Pavement. And it's a fantastic song. We've got some great guitar parts. There's a lovely melodic rhythm part. We've got some noisy soloing. There's an interesting alternate tuning. So I'm going to begin by playing a bit of the track for you, and then I'll talk about what's going on. So there we go. This song came out in 1994, I think. I've got to be slightly careful with this date stuff when I'm putting together these videos. My research usually involves having a quick look at Wikipedia before I hit record on my camera. And I do sometimes get these things wrong. I think with the recent Velvet Underground video, I said the song came out in 1973. In fact, it came out in 1970, and people were basically furious that I got my facts wrong, but I do try my best, and I'm pretty sure that this one came out in 1994. And it was taken from the album Crooked Rain, Crooked Rain, I think the first Pavement album that I got into, and it's a fantastic album. They're just such a good band. The songwriting, the melody, the lyrics, and I know that for some people they are a bit of an acquired taste, and maybe some people will never acquire a taste for their music, and I think that's partly down to the slightly, shall we say, shambolic nature of some of the recordings and certainly some of the live shows, but I absolutely love it. This kind of thing is right up my street. Let's take a look at this song then. There are two main parts. There's the part played by Steve Malkmus. That's the one that I think is in an unusual tuning, and then we've got Mr. Spiral Stairs playing the other guitar part, and that's a much more straightforward bashing out the chords of the song kind of guitar part. I'm going to be looking at both of them, but let's start with the basic rhythm part, which is in standard tuning. So key of D, and really the whole song is just a 4-chord cycle which repeats for the entire song, and it goes through different moods and the parts change a little bit, but the basic harmony stays the same. So we're going to play a D chord like this, just a normal open position D chord, and then we've got C, and I'm playing it like this, so more as a C add 9 chord, so coming from the D, just moving my first and second fingers over. You can, if you want, put your little finger down at the 3rd fret on the top string as well. And then to go to G is easy, just moving fingers 1 and 2 over to the lower strings. And then for E minor, you can either just go to a regular E minor chord, or what I'm doing is just from the G chord lifting up my second finger, and that gives you that E bass note, so it's giving you really an E minor 7 sound. So that's the way I've decided to do it. So you're playing D, C, G, E minor, and you're just repeating the G to E minor, and then the whole thing goes round again. playing that all with downstrokes. Occasionally I might just pick up the energy a little bit and throw some upstrokes in there as well. And one of the cool things about this song, I think, is that it's based on a 3-bar phrase. And that's actually quite unusual in pop and rock music. Mostly it's going to be 2s, 4 and 8s, but this chord progression repeats every 3 bars, and that's what kind of gives the song some of its interest to me, these unusual phrase lengths. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then it repeats. Mostly it from this part. I think if you wanted to, in the noisier sections of the tune, you could mix up the chord voicings a little bit. So maybe you could go to D, C, G, E minor. So using bar chords or power chords. So looking at videos, that's what Spiral sometimes appears to do. It's a little bit inconsistent. It depends what videos you're watching, but for the noisy bits, I think switching to bar chords or power chords and stomping on a distortion pedal would work well. Let's check out the other guitar part. I think I'd describe this as the main guitar part. This is played by Malkmus, and the tuning is really curious. And a lot of Pavement tunes are in these alternate tunings, sometimes some quite unusual ones, so it's kind of like Sonic Youth in that respect. And fortunately online there's quite a lot of information about these various tunings, and that actually saved me a lot of time. There's one website in particular which lists all of the Malkmus tunings by album and by song, and I've not gone through all of it, but it seems pretty reliable. So that gave me the basic tuning. Then obviously I didn't just take it as the truth, I kind of checked it with the record and watched some live recordings. But the tuning for this one it goes like this. I mean, it's quite unusual, but we're tuning the low E string all the way down to a C, and then we've got a G, and then a D, and then A, and then the top 2 strings are like standard tuning. So we've got a B and an E. So C, G, D, A, B, E, and I don't quite know what to call that tuning. I've not come across it before. I don't know any other songs that use this tuning. I think there's one other Pavement tune in this tuning, but I suppose what we've got here, I mean, the lowest 4 strings are in fifths. We've got a C, and then we're going up a 5th to G, up another 5th to D, up a 5th to A, and then we've got familiar territory on the top 2 strings because they're like standard tuning. What it means is on the lower strings you can kind of play these 2-note power chords, which are always going to work. But then if you play a 3-note shape at the same fret, then you've got a power chord with this extra note in there, this kind of second. I suppose you've got a add 2 kind of a sound, or a sus2 sound. So I suppose it's kind of that Andy Summers sound, that sort of add 2 sound. You could probably play a Cheats version of Walking on the Moon like this, I think. How would that go? Yeah. There we go. Much easier that way without those terrifying stretches. But we're going off on a tangent there. Let's come back to Pavement. And the opening riff is really beautiful and melodic, I think, and it goes like this. We've got some fairly simple chord shapes and lots of ringing open strings. So the first chord shape is this one here. So I'll give you the frets here. We've got 7 on 5 and 7 on 2. I've got an open 3rd string in there. Just arpeggiating that, then moving that shape down 2 frets. And then we've got a kind of melody on the top string, so going up to the 8th fret and then down to the 3rd fret. Again with just some ringing open Gs. Then the bass note is changing. So I'm playing the 4th fret on the low E string. That's all I'm hearing. You could play the 4th fret on the 5th string as well, just to thicken up that sound. Then some open strings, then this shape. So this is just open strings and the 3rd fret on the 2nd string, just going between those two shapes for that G to E minor sound. So. If you listen closely, which I have done, there are some variations. It's not picked in exactly the same way every time. Just the very first time it's played, it seems to be an extra note in some of those chords. So we've got the 5th fret on the 3rd string and then moving that shape down. Really beautiful part. That's one of the things that I like about Pavement, is the melody. I think Malkmus is just a fantastic melody writer. So that's the intro, and that recurs several times throughout the song. Then we've got the verse, and this guitar part drops out for a lot of the verse, and the rhythm is carried by the spiral part. There are just some little fills in there. So there's this, again, a nice melody that just reinforces the vocal line, comes in halfway through the first verse. So very simple but effective, just all played on the 4th string. And I think in the 2nd verse there are some little weird fills as well. There's a kind of just a kind of dissonant bending thing, just the 5th fret on the 5th string. Then we've got the chorus. Shall I call it the chorus? I'm not sure exactly. The song kind of builds and it goes somewhere else. I'm going to call it the chorus, I think. And this is where it's a little bit hard to hear exactly what's going on. I've listened very closely to the recording, so this is my best guess. If any of you have got any other ideas, let me know. I have, of course, watched some live videos, and a little bit inconsistent. He kind of seems to be doing some different things in those live videos. I'm not sure it's exactly the same as what he's playing on the recording, but I think what I've got here will work. So this is the part I've got. We got so some quite simple 2 and 3 note shapes. I'm starting 7 on the 5th and 4th strings, and then just dropping that lowest note down 2 frets. And then I've got this. So open 5th string and then 7 and 9 on the 4th string. Listen to the recording, you can definitely hear that happening, and then the other guitar and the bass is carrying the bass note at that point. And then in the second half of this chorus part, it's something like this. So I'm playing 3 note shapes. These are these kind of power chords with the added second. So the 7th fret down to the 5th fret. And you can just go to open strings there, so open 3, 4, 5, or you could play that on the lower strings at the 7th fret. And then I've got a 4th fret on the lowest 2 or 3 strings. So So that's how I'm playing the chorus. Then we've got a breakdown section, and it gets a little bit messy and chaotic, but I'm hearing some harmonics. So 12th fret on strings 4, then 3, maybe some open strings, and then we start building with this pair of notes. So 15 on the 2nd string, 12 on the 3rd string. And then we're into the guitar solo, and I think it's a fantastic guitar solo. It's a really great example of a certain kind of indie rock solo. It's kind of chaotic and noisy, but it's also really catchy and melodic. And he's just playing a melody just all on one string, all on the 2nd string, and just furiously tremolo picking. It goes something like this. So the melody is this, just starting at the 15th fret, 15, 17, 19, and then back down, and then 17, 15, 10. Then we've got the same melody. I think the second time through I can hear a bend in there, so just bending the 17th fret. And then we've got that to end, so 19, 17, 15, 17, 15. And then you just need to turn on some distortion and add in the tremolo picking. So important just to say relaxed with this kind of tremolo picking stuff. And you could, if you like, just kind of strum all of the strings and partially mute some of the strings, and that just adds a bit more kind of messiness to it. I think that can be quite cool. So that's really it. I love this tuning. It's quite an interesting one to explore. I might leave the Jazzmaster in this tuning for a little bit, I think. And yeah, what a great guitar part that is. It's melodic, it's interesting, and it's really memorable. Let me talk you through the gear that I'm using today. So for the Stephen Malkmus parts, I'm using my Jazzmaster in that alternate tuning. I'm on the neck pickup, and I'm going through my Vox AC30, and just looking at footage of Malkmus when he plays live. Often seems to use a Strat, but I've seen him using other guitars as well. I've seen him using a Jazzmaster, I think, an SG, so whatever you've got I think will work well for this. A couple of pedals, so I've got my clone pedal, the J Rocket Archer, just gain very low for those cleaner tones, and then for the solo I'm stepping on the Rat as well. And for the spiral parts I'm using my Trent Model 1, again through the AC30, and for the clean parts I'm not using any effect at all, and for the heavier stuff I'm just again stomping on the Rat. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to see more Pavement, let me know, and let me know what songs you'd like to see, and I'll see what I can do. And I will be tabbing this one out. I'll put that up on my Patreon page for those of you who are members there. And if you're not a member of the Patreon page, you can sign up, pay what you like, and get access to my library of various tabs and backing tracks. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.